Hi, I'm Chantel Cohen, and I am here talking with Andrea about love and dating. And Andrea is one of my success stories. She is about to get married in October, and so I have my typical questions, but I may ask her a few others because we want to know, how did she do this? Dating is so difficult now, and my clients are telling me, oh my gosh, I can't find anyone. And so I would love to find out, what did you do, Andrea? And thank you for being here, by the way.
My pleasure.
Let me just say that.
Yeah, my pleasure. No, it's great to be here, and I love talking love anyway, so this is one of my favorite topics. Awesome.
So you're getting married in October, and can you tell us a little bit about how you met your partner, your future husband?
Yeah, so I don't want to give you the super long version, but we met when I first came here to Atlanta. I was in Scotland before, just moved here, knew no one. Atlanta was one of those cities where I was like, coming from South Carolina before Scotland, we kind of looked at Atlanta like, ooh, it's the Mecca, it's so huge, it's Black Power, it's everything, and it was like somewhat intimidating, if you're to be honest, if I was really being internally honest. And, just coming here, I was like, okay, it's a new city, and I felt a little more empowered because I was like, I've done Scotland. If you can do overseas, you can do anywhere. So I was like, come on, Atlanta, let's do it. And got here, had a little job in the architecture, construction, engineering space, doing marketing and branding. And this guy ended up being...
This guy, your husband?
Yeah.
Your soon-to-be husband? This guy.
This guy. He was the go-to for everything. Everyone, I got to this place, I was their new marketing director, and they were just poised for national growth, right? They might have had 100-ish employees. And one of the things I set out to do was to do a blog post about their top 10 projects, because they hadn't had that before. And they had so many awesome projects, like they did World of Coca-Cola and College Football Hall of Fame.
You can say the company if you like, feel free.
It's Miller Clapperton. Down in Austell. Okay. So really amazing. They're small, they're family-owned type of business, but everyone I asked about the Center for Civil and Human Rights, which was one of their projects, that beautiful gold building downtown.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. Okay.
Everyone said, you've got to talk to Mark Johnson. You got to talk to Mark Johnson. Every time I turned around and asked about it.
Mark Johnson is her fiance.
Yeah. You're out there, babe, there's no going back. So, and I was looking for information. I was like, fine, I'll go find him. And so we went on LinkedIn, found him, and I was like, oh, well, he's cute, just low key to myself, checking him out. And I was like, but this is business, it's professional. And I reached out to him and said, would you meet me for coffee to talk about this project?
Okay.
That's how we ended up meeting, talked forever and all that.
Did you... Before you asked him, was there any sort of
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
You know what the means? It means that, like, I thought he was cute, or I
definitely thought he was cute. As much as you can think someone's cute on LinkedIn, because you never know.
Yeah,
like,
this guy
how
is
old
fine.
Is this picture?
Okay.
And then you don't know, like, it's Atlanta. You don't know, like, people. He could be gay. He could be, in the
no,
design
it's true.
space.
Or he could be in a relationship, and yet
could be married. Yeah.
And yet we know that, I think, you guys don't quote me on this stat, because I'm honestly just going to reel this off, and I think this is right, that over 45% of people meet their significant other at work or through work in some way. So, a lot of my clients are like, oh God, I'm really into this person, but they're at work, and I'm like, okay, are they a subordinate to you? Are they a direct report? If they say no, no, and no, I'm like, check, they are fair game. Because so many people spend all their time at work, right? And so it makes sense. So guys, don't shy away from that, as long as there's no sort of breach in terms of this person is a direct report or something. I think it's perfectly okay. I just think you have to navigate the waters kind of gently, to ask someone out, but it happens all the time. I mean, that's a lot. It's all, I mean, it's getting towards the 50%. So it makes sense. So you met Mark, and what'd you think of him when you first saw him?
When I met him, he was a little more salt and pepper than his picture, but it was.
Oh, okay. Is that okay?
It was fine. It was okay.
A little more salt and pepper. Mark, I hope you're listening to this.
He knows.
Poor Mark. It's like,
He knows. But yeah, so we met each other, and what was so great about him, I mean, because you can't tell height and all this on LinkedIn, right? So he's so tall. He's like 6'6", ridiculous, and football stature, and has a very white voice on top of that. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a great meeting.
it's so interesting because a lot of my clients talk about height and how important it is, and it's really interesting because for me that was never an issue. Even though my husband's 6 feet, I never cared. I dated a guy who's 5'5".
Yeah.
Like it never mattered. But most of the people that I talk to, height matters. So he's 6'6", very white voice, salt and pepper. He sounds amazing, and he's the go-to guy that everybody's talking about. And so, did you think that there was something there from the moment you met him?
Not necessarily right away, because he was a little mysterious. You know how some guys you can just tell because they're so flirtatious off the bat, and he was not that. He was all business, even though it was great to talk to him. Like, it was fun, like a friend, conversational but professional. And I mean, we were there for business, so I think we both were on professional mode. But we also enjoyed each other's company. And so by the end of the conversation, I was like, you know, I kind of got everything I need for this blog post, but I'm also new to the industry and the area. So if you'd ever like to, you know, it's kind of doing me a favor, but if you'd like to get together and fill me in, you know, get me up to speed more on the industry, because he's an architect. And so he was very into like kind of teaching me about what this industry is about and everything. And so I said, if you'd be open to that, I'd be open to that. And he said, yeah. And after that, we became each other's kind of, honestly, our little happy hour buddies. You know, we'd meet up after work. And, but the conversation was always still like enough to be friendly. It was just nice.
Let's just slow it down a little bit, because it sounds like you did something pretty bold. You said, hey, let's keep in touch. Mm-hmm. And I like the way that you went about it with Mark. It was kind of a win-win. If it didn't work out, you know, you've got somebody that professionally that you can kind of talk to, rely on, learn a little bit from.
It's a great network connection. Yeah,
absolutely. But also, it sounds like you've
room to explore. It was room to explore.
Yeah, I like that. And so many of the people that I work with or that I've had the opportunity to speak with, a lot of women are afraid to do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So can you say a little bit more about what gave you the courage to kind of make sure that you were going to have another meeting with him?
I just knew I knew he would be open to it based on our initial conversation. So,
so you felt the vibe.
Yeah, the conversation was good enough, you know, at least to be friends. I knew we would be friends at a minimum. Not that I have
friends.
a lot of... At a minimum, you know, because not like I have a lot of guys. Because at this point, he was so professional. Like, I really didn't know, like, what his situation was. Like, for all I knew, he could be married, he could be gay, he could be, I don't know. Because there was no flirting at all other than just friendly, you know, friendly professional. But it was still good conversation. Yeah. And so I was like, he was a little bit of a mystery. I was like, I need to figure him out.
Ooh,
it's how
mystery.
it felt. Yeah.
Is he an introvert?
You know what? I would call him an ambivert. I think we're both a little bit in the middle. So
I love when people say that. Jungian theory would never agree with that, but go ahead.
Okay. I have no idea who that is.
Jung, he was a counterpart of Freud's. He was
okay. You wouldn't know. But yeah, I felt we're somewhere in the middle, and you know, because he will go out and network. He loves people. He loves hanging out, but he also is, now I know, he also really treasures his alone time.
He's an introvert.
Okay.
He's an introvert. Introverts get their energy from being alone, but it doesn't mean Oprah Winfrey's an introvert, but it doesn't mean that they don't like people. There's some misconception that introverts don't like people, that they don't have great friendships. In fact, introverts have very deep friendships. They love socializing. It's just when they socialize, it's draining. And so then they go and they're alone a little bit and they recharge. Extroverts recharge by being with other people. So I'm an extrovert. Like last night I went out to dinner with my husband. I'm like, hey, let's go out. Remember I was telling him, like, hey, he's like, no, he's an introvert. He's like, this is enough.
We're good to chill.
I'm ramping up. Yeah. So it's really interesting. So it sounds like if you get your energy from being alone, meaning doesn't mean you're going to go out, network, socialize, all that good stuff, but then it kind of drains you a little bit. You go back home, you have time, you read, you may be with the person that you love. Doesn't mean you're in the fortress of solitude, but that's more of an introvert. Or an extrovert, it's energy draining to be alone so much.
I got
and
you.
it's vitalizing for us to kind of be out among people.
Out and about. I got you.
Yeah. So I'm the last one to leave the party. I'm the person who's like, hey, let's stay out till like 3 o'clock.
Forever. Never leave me.
So it sounds like he's an introvert, because introverts sometimes can be mysterious. I was teasing my husband last night. I'm like, you introverts, like you cook us extroverts in because we're like, wow, they must be thinking deep thoughts. They're quiet. They're mysterious. And we just feed on that. So it sounds like Mark, and also with the Me Too movement, guys are scared.
That's true too.
They're just scared. Mm-hmm. So maybe not knowing. So you guys went out. And so when did you know that he wasn't married, not attached, and there could be something there?
Well, it was actually a quarter in of knowing him.
What is a quarter in of knowing him?
3 months in.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, I'm speaking.
No worries, no worries.
But yeah, 3 months in, we've been hanging out, doing the whole cocktail hour, happy hour buddy thing. All still professional, still not flirting.
No flirting?
No flirting.
Dang,
this whole
Mark.
time. This whole time, which is very rare. Most guys by now, you would have flirted at some point if you were interested. But I kept asking, you want to grab a drink? You're my new happy hour buddy. And he's like, yeah. So we would go out. But I would never, it would never be anything well, you look good today.
So interesting.
I know, he's different. He's a different animal altogether. But
were you intrigued by him?
I was, because I
he
had to
wasn't
know.
coming on to you, and
yeah, I had to know what because most guys make it real clear, and he wasn't. And then I found out. Okay, so then I found out the reason why. So 3 months in, he took me.
Okay.
He took me to this, he asked me to meet him at this park not far from where I lived. And I'd never been to this little park before. It was kind of very wooded. And we ended up walking, and I'm in heels and stuff.
It's low water?
I'm not sure where it was. In Smyrna. I was in Smyrna at the time. And
the Silver Comet Trail.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's it. And it's really wooded, and people jog, and it's beautiful.
It's a valley. It goes down, and and I was like, "You're my happy hour buddy, but why are we here?" In the back of my head, I was
did you say that?
No.
Okay.
No, but I was thinking it because he wasn't saying anything for a long time. He was just leading me down. We were walking forever, and we were in the woods all by ourselves. And I was like, "Dude, I'll take these heels off and I will murder you with these heels if I have to." I don't know what you think where are we going? He wouldn't tell me. He took me all the way over there to tell me that he was separated and getting a divorce.
Ah.
Yeah.
So
but that
that's
he actually
why he did it. Way to go, Mark. That's actually really great. That's excellent. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. So
how did you feel?
And so then it all made sense, right? Why he never, but that never stopped other guys before, right? Other people can be married, even, I mean, Atlanta has
Mark
it all.
is integrity and character.
Yeah, clearly, but
Yeah.
that's not the norm.
There are a lot of, I hear you. There are a lot of men, though, with character and integrity.
I'm sorry,
I see
guys.
somebody in our cameraman and someone else is here. They're like, no, there are not a lot of guys with integrity.
But I'll give it to you though, that like everyone's not the same. So you're right. There are a good amount of good guys still there.
A lot of good men. A lot of good men out there. And so it sounds like that was the moment you knew he was interested in you.
He did let me know. He said, I like you very much. And he even actually admitted he had fallen. He said he fell in love after I wrote that blog post about him. Because it turned out to be like this it got spread a lot. He's a Howard grad, so Howard shared it. His architecture firm shared it. All these other people shared it. His mama was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then she was like, but who wrote? She was also like, who wrote this? You know, because it seems like they know you very well. And that was just me doing creative writing, but also, you know, like.
Sounds like you were crushing on him now.
Maybe.
I mean.
Curious crushing, maybe.
What I think people don't realize is that people like people who like them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you know, saying something nice, I like the way that, you know, I don't know, and people are so afraid now, but I like that perfume, or, you know, I like your personal style, or I like the way you've handled your career, that feels good. It feels good to know that, you know, that person thinks highly of you. Mm-hmm. And so it's nice that you wrote that, and it sounds like it was a big love letter to him professionally.
Maybe, yeah, professional, we'll call it that, professional.
Yeah. Love letter,
it definitely, I knew he was going to like it when he read it. And his mom liked it and all this. And he said he felt like I saw him.
Oh my gosh, that's a statement. I want you to slow that down a little bit. He felt like you saw him. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's great. It's like, I know, you guys try not to cry. It is. It's everyone's desire to be seen and known and accepted for who they are. And so that's beautiful. So it sounds like you were present. Not only did you take a chance, you had the courage to ask him out in a non-threatening way, and you had nothing to lose other than, okay, so I'll have a friend. And secondly, you were, you saw him, you were present and open and listening. And that's so important. So that means you weren't on your phone a lot, looking at your phone.
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so he told me that, and so it's odd to hear him say like he fell in love way back then, and all this time he didn't flirt or anything. And he said it was, you know, really because of his situation. And I think it was because he was afraid he would scare not just me, but women in general off if he was truthful about his situation. Yeah. And so he kept it to himself until I guess he felt he really couldn't keep it to himself anymore.
Who's that? What a man, what a man, what a good man. Who sings that? Is that Salt and Pepper?
I think so. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
It's like, wow. I mean, Mark, big shout out to you. I feel like I'm seeing you too. It's just nice to hear about a man who has a lot of integrity, and also to hear about a woman who's not afraid to, you know, ask for what she wants, or at least whether that's friendship or whether that's a date. And so I love that. I think that had you not had the courage to do it, I don't know if you'd be engaged.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are waiting for someone to come to them. Mm-hmm. And I think you're a great example of not waiting. When you see someone, you know, that you like, to at least try to say, hey, let's have a coffee, let's talk about this, find things in common, but don't don't worry about, if that person says, hey, I'm married, that's okay. You just keep it moving at that point. But especially women, I just think we're talking about respect in the workplace. We're talking about equal pay. But then I hear women say, oh, I'm not going to pay for a dinner, which to me is a double standard. And please don't send me your hate text messages. Because, I'm sorry, text messages, but hate comments. I just believe that women, if you want equality in the workplace, then you got to have equality in dating and etc. So it's okay for women to ask men out. I really think so, yeah.
Asking them out, and so I don't know. I never shared this with anybody who's in therapy or counseling or professional before, but I have a theory about the whole dating paying thing, because that is such a big thing with us, and there are so many women who are like, ooh, we got to keep it, it's traditional. If he can't at least pay for me on the first date, then who is he?
Yeah.
And my feeling is it's a little bit of a power move on your part to offer, and then it's also a telltale for him depending on how he reacts to it. And so you learn a lot merely by offering. Like he may end up paying, but if he fights you for it, it's a little better than just him paying, you didn't speak up at all. And so I have that's probably a whole nother video, but
no, it makes sense. So if he says, hey, yeah, I'd love to go out and you pay, it says what he thinks about women and the respect and that there's equality. If he fights it's also, he's about equality. It's a win-win either way, whether you pay or whether he pays. It's a win-win. And so I really, really, I love that. You're, a modern day woman in every sense of the word. and that's probably why you're engaged.
Okay.